Alright, so today for Foods Lab number 4, we are making a special meal. And in the description for that, it said it was like a meal that we make for a holiday. So I wanted to make a meal for my personal favorite holiday, and today we are making a completely Star Wars themed meal for May the 4th. I'm downstairs right now because my sisters are upstairs painting eggs, being very loud, and I wanted to record this intro in a quiet place. But without any ado, let's go get cooking. So, for the dessert portion of my meal, we are making brownies. And I'm making these first because I found with previous experience making these that they are better when they sit for a while. So without any ado, let's get started making these. Step 1 for the brownies is to put the flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, and salt into this bowl. So let's do that now. Our dry ingredients all mixed together in this bowl. We're going to set this aside now and pull out the blender to do our wet mixture. Right, so into this blender we are going to put 1 cup of butter, brown sugar, and granulated sugar. So let's go ahead and get that started. Alright, so we have our sugars and the butter in the mixer, and we're going to get that mixed up right now. Alright, and now we're going to add the eggs and vanilla. There we go. We have the eggs and the vanilla added to the mixture. Now we're going... Okay, so the basic mixture is completed. All of the main ingredients are mixed into this bowl. Before, however, we put it into the pan, I'm going to add butterscotch chips, white chocolate chips, and walnuts. So let's do that now. Batter is now completed. So I'm going to set up a time lapse and we're going to get all of this into the baking pan and then into the oven. So let's do that now. And the brownie is in the pan. Alright, so we're going to put this in the oven, starting it off for 25 minutes, and then get to the kitchen cleaned up. Let's go! So there is currently 9 minutes and 25 seconds before I have to check the brownies. I'm going to use some of this time and explain what the rest of the meal for tonight is going to be. So, obviously the dessert is going to be the brownies from my Star Wars cookbook. However, the main meal is going to be a Ronto wrap with a side of fried potatoes and coleslaw. And the drink is going to be another recipe from my Star Wars cookbook. It's going to be the Yoda soda, which is going to be lots of fun to make. So yeah, very excited for what is to come, and in 8 minutes I'm gonna check the brownies. Right. So, the brownies are out of the oven, they have completed their cooking. I'm going to let them rest for about 5 minutes, then I'm going to wrap them in tin foil and set them aside while I start doing the main course. So let's do that now. So moving on to our main dish, we're going to be making these Ronto wraps. And to start off, we're going to be frying our vegetable oil and our half an onion into this pan, then adding ground pork and chorizo sausage with some tomato puree. So without any ado, let's get started doing that right now. The onion is in the pan, and we're going to stir it up until it softens, and then we are adding the ground pork and the chorizo sausage. So, I'm going to see if I can set up a time lapse for this, but I'm tending to doubt it. So we've added the chorizo and ground beef to the onion. We're going to let that simmer for a bit and let the chorizo break down while we do the pureeing tomatoes. So now we're going to be adding our pureed tomato. And we are going to also add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar along with this. So I'll do that right now. We're going to mix this up And then depending on the consistency, once this is mixed, we will also add the juice that was with the pureed tomatoes. We want the chorizo pieces here to break up. So this is going to cook for probably about another 10-15 minutes. So while the chorizo and pork cooks, I'm going to use the thyme to prepare a guacamole and a pico to go with it. So let's do that right now. Finished up the guac and pico. I'm going to plastic wrap them, put them in the fridge, and then get started on frying some potatoes. So let's go. Hey, so now we're going to get started with making our fried potatoes to go on the side of our dish. We're going to start by dicing up the potatoes. Potatoes have been chopped up and placed onto the baking sheet on top of some tin foil. We're going to now salt, pepper, and oil them. Alright, putting this in the oven and we're going to get started on the coleslaw. So the dressing for the coleslaw is going to go into this bowl, and that's going to magically appear right now. Right, so in this dressing there is mayo, sugar, lemon juice, vinegar, and salt and pepper. Just a normal, simple coleslaw dressing. And we're going to add this to the coleslaw that I've prepared over here. I've also specially added sunflower seeds and green apple because I really like the taste that adds. So we're going to combine those and then leave that in the fridge until it's time to eat. On to the drink. After further consideration and a test run, my sister and I decided that the Yoda soda I was originally going to make would probably be better as something you sip at a party. So for our drink for the meal, we are going to be making a Star Wars staple, the blue milk. And to make that, we're just going to be making a smoothie and adding some blue food coloring. So let's see how that looks now. That worked really well. Okay, so the meal is complete. You will notice that the brownies aren't currently on the table. We are having those for dessert, and I will record a separate video and take pictures once we eat them. But as a wrap-up, for my special May the 4th meal, I made Ronto wraps with a topping of guacamole and pico, with a blue milk smoothie, some Tatooine sandy potatoes, and a sarlacc slaw. Very happy with how this turned out, and I will take some pictures of how it looks.